We let them play.
I'm sorry, the Coliseum.
The Coliseum. You know, all joking aside, let me tell you what this is all about. USC, and believe me, I've been USC's biggest defender in the Coliseum Commission, among the biggest defenders. I don't want to offend my SC fan colleagues over there, but I have been. And when the NFL was pushing hard, or people were pushing hard to get the NFL into the Coliseum, and SC was nervous about what it would do to their playing conditions, I sided with USC because I believe that USC is a, whether I believe it or not, it's self-evident that USC is a huge engine in the Exposition Park area. They have made billions of dollars worth of investments and expenditures, academic largely, in their building program. They are largely the reason that community has turned its fortunes around, and they can't be dismissed. It pains me to say this as a Bruin. They have done an outstanding job on all fronts, and Steve Sample, their president, will be in the Hall of Fame of college presidents if there is such a thing. There's no question about it. They have also been very important to the Coliseum and to Exposition Park. They are the Coliseum's, for the last, 20 years now, or 15 years, the Coliseum's #1 tenant. So we don't want to lose them, but we can't let them play for free. They are a tenant. We own the property. We have to pay for the maintenance. We have to pay every time the lights go on for their night games. We got to pay for that. We've got to pay for mowing the lawn. We've got to pay when the plumbing in the ladies' room and the men's room goes haywire, as it does just about every year. We're going to have to pay to redo the plumbing, which is what we ought to do, and to refurbish the infrastructure. So they need to pay rent, as every other college football team in the country does, where they don't play in their own on-campus stadium. USC has this great deal where they pay very little rent, and the stadium happens to be essentially on campus, right across the street from their campus. And it's a wonderful arrangement for them, and it's a wonderful arrangement for us. What happened? This is my assumption of what happened. I think some people on the Board of Trustees of the University of Southern California thought they could bully the Coliseum Commission into giving away the facility to the university for 75 years for nothing. Okay, and what you heard in the news was that they offered $100 million and we turned them down. Well, they weren't going to write a check for $100 million. The $100 million was going to come from the sale of our naming rights, our asset. So it's like me coming into your house saying, I'm taking over, I'm going to live here for 75 years, I'm not going to compensate you. How? I'm going to sell that Picasso that's on your living room wall. That's how I'm going to pay, and I'm going to pay you back for it. They're using our asset, and they're telling you they turned us down. It was an expensive and extensive and sophisticated public relations ploy by the supporters of USC and led by some of their trustees. And now let me tell you what their own studies show. Their own studies show that the replacement value of the Coliseum is $650 million. In other words, if USC wanted to build a stadium comparable to the Coliseum, a little better than the Coliseum, presumably and hopefully, in that neighborhood on their campus, it would cost them about $650 million. I think that's a conservative estimate, because the NFL was talking about spending $850 million to redo the Coliseum. So they wanted to take a $650 million asset, by their own admission, by their own analysis, pay nothing for it, have it for 75 years, which essentially means they'd own it. And the Los Angeles Times had an editorial saying, those boobs at the Coliseum Commission, why don't they take this offer? Well, boob number one says it's not their property. They aren't entitled to it. The deal we've offered them is fair, and we're negotiating with them now. I think things have kind of gotten out of the papers and back to where they should have been at the negotiating table. And we should be able to work this out in a manner that is satisfactory to them, serves their needs as well as the Coliseum's needs. We're not a profit-making operation. USC, during the first 50 years of this deal, based on what we know of their revenues, would make they would generate for their revenues $7 billion over 50 years. So you say, okay, Zev, but that's what they would generate. How much are they going to keep? We figure somewhere in the neighborhood of $5.8 billion. Okay, that's what they're going to net on this thing. Why? Because when they sell a 50-yard line seat, they don't just sell it for the $90 or whatever the face value of the ticket is. They come to their alumni, as we do at UCLA, by the way, except we don't have as rich an alumni as they do. And we say, if you want the right to buy a $90 ticket from the 50-yard line, you need to make a $25,000 contribution to the Trojan Club, or whatever they call it, Bruin Club. And by the way, that $25,000 is tax deductible, because you're making that check payable to a tax deductible institution, the University of Southern California. So if you were buying a Laker ticket up in Oakland, a Raider ticket up in Oakland, and you have this PSL, I think it's called Personal Service, I forget what the PSL stands for, maybe somebody else, but it's that license that allows, that prepayment that allows you to buy the ticket. What is it? Personal seat license, thank you. If you paid the 25 grand, if that's what they charged at the Oakland Raiders, it wouldn't be tax deductible, because that's a sports organization. But to UCLA or to USC, it's tax deductible, which I think might interest the IRS at some point in time. So now you're talking to Zev Yaroslavsky, who, if I'm nothing else, I'm protective of your money. Okay, so you worried about the salary increase for the district attorney, but nobody cared that we were about to give away the naming rights, the parking revenue rights, the concession rights, all those things to a private university to take over our asset. I won't stand for it. And if they want to go look for another place to play under those circumstances, see if they can make a better deal than the one we've offered them. They can't, because we've offered them a very good deal. We want them to stay at the Coliseum. Are we stupid? No. We want them to stay there. They want to stay there. Their fans want to stay there. It's their on-campus stadium. It's a marriage made in heaven. I'm glad that we're off the dueling press conferences that we were having a month or two ago, and finally getting down to negotiations. It should not take this long to figure out. It's a relatively simple deal.
With that, a couple things.